तरीका क्या है वो? So today we are going to study the most awaited and most crucial topic: Introduction to Good Laboratory Practice. The main objective of lecture today is GLP, Good Laboratory Practices. So most of the time you might have seen that it is widely and internationally implemented. Okay, every laboratory that is functioning has to follow this very law, and it is somewhat implemented in everywhere. So, what is the outcome of these things? Because of this lecture and after listening to the whole scenario, you will be able to listen and you will be able to understand what is the basic fundamental applications of uh, GLP employed in the laboratories. So, good laboratory practices. So, what in reality it is? In reality, it is meant for the labs all around the world, not just in one country, but all over the place. Right. Because of this, there are many indifferent features that are employed because of the functionality of laboratories and their protocols. And also, the laboratory safety measures are how they are employed and how they are practiced. So, whenever and wherever these things are observed, or whenever you are going to consider any lab all around the world, then you might encounter the very same design, very similar protocols, and very similar mode of actions. Now let's move ahead. So, what is the correct definition of good laboratory practices? Okay, you might have heard about every time that follow the GLP, you must follow the GLP. But what is the reality of GLP? What is the real meaning of GLP? And why it is employed? What are the basic details involved in it? What is the history of GLP? Okay, good laboratory practice has been in place since the year 1978 and regulates quality assurance for research and development in the areas of medicinal products. So, uh, this happened during the year 1978, and regulations were designed and implemented to assure the quality of the product, whether it is the quality of research and development in the areas of medicine product. So you might have seen that every time when it comes to pharmaceuticals or when it comes to the development of vaccines and any other thing, any other food grade items or any other medicinal products or pharmaceutical products, uh, you will always see the strict implementation of GLP. Okay, like if you see the medicinal compounds that are manufactured in India, they are manufactured according to the standards of BP or IP or USP. So, what are these things? The IP is Indian Pharmacopoeia. So, they have formulated a book that works, and all the medicines and formulations are prescribed in that very book, and all you have to follow those rules. So, for the working scenario in the laboratory, these things were designed. So, internationally, all the laboratories they look the very same, and people who work there they follow the same scenarios and protocols that are essential for the safety of the individuals working there, and also for the assurance of quality of the product that is being manufactured there. Okay, it aims to prevent scandals from arising in medicinal product industries. Since its global launch, the guidelines it contains have enjoyed international recognition. Okay, so earlier the things were not at all standardized. Every country has their own standards, have got their own working styles, had their own working scenario, but nothing was unified. Like if you see the things internationally, what you will see, if you see the meter scale, it is the very same because it has been recognized internationally as a measuring instrument. Okay, so earlier in the following the same pattern, all the laboratory guidelines were designed and they were launched globally altogether, and everyone welcomed it and everyone uh, now follow them. While some GLP measures are implemented on the basis of how large the companies and institutes using them are, there are certain standards that every laboratory area has to comply with. Okay, so this is why these things are very different. Every time when there should be a prescribed area for the laboratory, there's a prescribed area designed for the laboratory. Okay, and what are the safety measures that should be adopted when you are working in the laboratory? So, what are the basic safety levels that are implemented in the laboratory? What is the measure for preventing accidents? Okay, what are the measures for if anything mishappened there? Okay, if any accident took place there. So, what are the scenarios for that? So, everything was included in the system of GLP, good laboratory practices, and it was implemented from the year 1978. So, in this image, you can see that this very particular individual is working on the laboratory counter table. Okay, and you can see the LED lights are there; they are properly covered, right? And she's wearing proper eye gear for the protection of eyes, and she's also wearing laboratory apron in the lab. So, as you can see that these aprons they are meant for personal protection. Okay, if the laboratory is of basic safety level 1, PSL 1, then an individual can significantly work with these types of measures. And she is collecting some sort of data, and everything is up to the mark, and she is working in a very clean and neat environment. This is the utmost level of practice to keep the laboratory clean and functioning every time. There should not be a single instrument that is non-functional in the laboratory or having some type of mechanical or functional error. If such error is present, that instrument has to be replaced immediately for good reason. So, uh, what is the history of this thing called good laboratory practices? GLP. Okay, why it was implemented and what is the very uh, wide region, over a wide region in the world, and but what was the accident that shaped this belief? GLP was first introduced in New Zealand and Denmark in the year 1972. Right, GLP was instituted in US following cases of fraud generated by toxicology labs uh, in data submitted to the FDA by pharmaceutical companies. Because most of the time, whenever uh, you are performing some chemical study and analysis, you need to get some test and certification from the toxicology lab that this very chemical has certain properties, what percent is toxic to the living things, and what is the metabolic scenario if it is injected in a living organism, and what rate it is going to act, what are its drug metabolism, and how it is excreted out of the body. So toxicology labs were not performing those experimentations, and they were just submitting fake data to the pharmaceutical company, and that was reported to FDA by the pharmaceutical companies in America. As a result, Industrial Biotest Labs (IBT) was most notable case, where thousands of safety tests for chemical manufacturers were falsely claimed to have been performed. Or okay, Shivam, I'm back. Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Recording is on. Let's continue with the lecture.
Okay.
So we were discussing about the good laboratory practices, and because of that, there have been many significant changes. Because in United States of America, the FDA is very strict in implementation of such issues and rules and regulations that are linked with all those edible products and pharmaceutical products. So, when these cases of procrastination were reported from toxicology laboratories, the conditions were very different and they were immediately implemented. So, because of those things, all of a sudden there was a change, right? And new rules and regulations were immediately designed and implemented. And following those things, everything has been welcomed at a very global level also, because everyone facing was facing such difficulties. Everyone was facing such scenarios, and because of those things, uh, it was really very indifferent to have different kinds of laboratories everywhere, and it was very difficult to work in such scenarios and such uh, environment. So, uh, with the fraud of that toxicology lab, the things and the false test it was committing, and it was generating false fraud data, and the complaint was filed to FDA, and FDA performed many testing and investigation cases on them. So, most notable cases where thousands of safety tests for chemical manufacturer were falsely claimed to have been performed, or were so poor that police investigators could not piece together what work had been done. Even though IBT superficially delivered the test results that their contracts with the manufacturer specified. So they were always generating false data, false information that was uh, that was generated, and because of these cases and because of these scenarios, many people were able to uh, see the generation of GLP. So, principles of good laboratory practices. What are the main principles involved in that? See, a quality assurance program. Every time uh, the protocols that have been designed for because of GLP, they just focus on quality assurance. Okay, you the people in the laboratory, they should work according to the standards. They should assure the quality of their work, and they should always have the basic details intact. Okay, you should maintain the record of your testing, and you should always see whether the testing is being done properly or not. You should always save the samples also. Okay, reporting study of facility, and facility should be according to the standards what are mentioned there. What is the design of laboratory recommended? Okay, storage and retention of the records and materials. So you must maintain 5 years record and retention materials, sample materials significantly, and you should have a proper storage for them, and records should be maintained in hard copy also and in soft copy also. Reporting of study results, and you should always report the study results, whether the product whether you are receiving the raw material, uh, or whether you are receiving the raw material from outside from different company, or whether the process of manufacturing is going on in your manufacturing unit, and you are continuously receiving samples for uh, quality assurance, quality control department, and you are constantly working in the lab. Every time you are supposed to maintain the quality. Okay, so quality control is very important, and apparatus, materials, and reagents should be up to the mark. It should not be like that that you are performing the experimentation process with the expired material or chemical. And your apparatus should be up to the mark. Your measuring cylinders and all those things should be up to the mark, and you should always follow. If you are working in India, you might see that some companies abroad or in India, they follow British pharmacopoeia. or United States pharmacopoeia, or Australian pharmacopoeia, or Indian pharmacopoeia. So, because of that, all these things they generally tend to get implemented some changes that has a slight variation according to the standards being followed. But every time your lab should be that much equipped that it can transform itself according to the pharmacopoeias, according to the demands of your consumer and customers. So, uh, the standard operating procedures (SOPs). So, whatever the protocols are being followed, whatever the machines are being followed, you should always have a standard operating system (SOP), the protocol according to which the machines are calibrated, okay, the records are maintained of their services, and how those things are entertained. Okay, in what rotation the services are being done of the for the instruments and all such scenarios. Performance study, okay, how those things are performing, how your tests are performing, right? What were the tests you were conducting, testing facility organization and personnel. So you have QA and QC, quality assurance cell, and quality control department. And the laboratory is situated in mostly quality control department. And quality assurance gives the certification and documentation that is required by the product. Okay, if you need to, you are selling that product or you're manufacturing that product, every time you need the certification from QA department with proper documentation and proper paperwork. Test and reference substances. And in that, after that, the COA, the certificate of analysis, is issued along with the product. So, uh, in that product, the number of chemical, biological, and physical tests are reported in which what they have been conducted and what are their readings or their findings are, and according to the set range where the correct data falls. Okay, every time there is a range, there is a whole spectrum of the reading. So your reading somewhere should fall in between them. So test systems, your system should be upgraded and updated every time. It should not be like that you are working on outdated instruments and you are working on outdated methodology. So these are the things that are based on the very base of GLP or good laboratory practices every time. Because when you are following that scenario, somewhere you reduce the chances of human error. You also reduce the chances of receiving any complaints in your products because when you are dealing with the things on an international level, when you are exporting material, overall scenario is somewhat very different. Okay, like you are exporting some pharmaceutical product and you are exporting some uh, food grade item every time to another country or even domestically also. Uh, the product is designed according to the consumer. Okay, so you have to modernize your laboratory facility, and you should always look into the matter, the way you are producing the product, the way you are manufacturing it, and also the way you are packing it and exporting it. Your packing should be of topmost level. Okay, you don't know that what type of temperature your product would be exposed to. You also don't even know that what type of scenario is carried out in the transportation of your product. So you should always mention it. Okay, that this is the correct temperature that product should be kept in. The product should be kept in a dark room dark and dry place or dark and cold place. So these are the things that are essentially very important. Even though you have manufactured a very good quality product, if the storage and packing facility is not up to the mark, then your product will be spoiled immediately. Okay, so good laboratory practices intersect and interlinks many other scenarios also that are essentially very important for the industry, and also they are very important for the laboratory of every level. These issues were made public in the hearings at U.S. Congress, which led to the FDA's publication of proposed regulation on GLP in the year 1976, with establishment of the final rule in June 1978, 21 CFR 58. So, the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) had also encountered similar problems and data submitted to it, and issued its own draft on GLP regulations. In 1978 and 1980, publishing the final rules in two separate parts, 40 CFR 160 and 40 CFR 792 in the year 1983. So, in this image, you can very easily see the individuals working in very constrained environment, right? So, this laboratory might be BSL-3. Okay. So BSL-3, in which an individual is required to wear personal protective equipment in order to work on the facility, and this PPE kit uh, also serves as a last uh, line of defense for the person wearing it. So you can also see this ring light over their head. It is very handy for individuals who are working under controlled environment, and everything has to be sterilized, everything has to be autoclaved before even being discarded outside. So these type of laboratories that are like DSL-3 and DSL-4, they when their material is being discarded outside, when their materials are being processed outside waste material, and even while performing experimentation, everything should be clean, everything should be neat, everything should be sterilized, because most of the time in such laboratories, these individuals are working on really pathogenic and highly contagious microbes, right? And these things can really be dangerous. Even though the person is wearing a PPE kit, okay, there are chances that this person can get infected, and he can transmit that very infection to his family and his surroundings in which he or she is living. So, following this scenario, such labs are needed to be established in the areas which are far away from the local population. Okay, they are should be uh, established in the middle of nowhere, and they should always run the proper safety measures and software, proper safety scenarios for the safety of the individual. So BSL levels 1, 2, 3, 4, they should be followed properly because they are also linked with GLP, good laboratory practices also. So these safety measures are properly linked with the complications that comes with the working in BSL-3 and BSL-4 laboratories. So what are the GLP principles? What are the things that are essentially included in GLP principles? Let's start in a very circular manner. Test and reference substance. Okay, you should always maintain a very good record of what type of test substances are coming as a raw material or as a finished material or as a reference material. Okay, and what are the test results? What are the documents that combined with that? You should follow the proper documentation procedures. Okay, and following that test and reference substances, they record. Okay, in industry you are properly instructed to maintain a 5 year record in order to generate the data. Standard operating procedures following the GLP principle is that every time you have to maintain the standard operating procedures. Every time you have to look into the matter very carefully. What type of instrument or machinery you are working on? Okay, what is the proper handling? Uh, you should always focus on the individual who is working in the lab or the analyst. He or she should have proper training, and they should always receive the scenario that links with proper hands-on training. And you should always know the pros and cons and the limitations of the instrument. Facilities should be designed according to the standards of GLP, following the protocols, performance of study, and you should always maintain the record very nicely. And what are the study results and what are the data that was collected after the analysis. Reporting of study results, and you should always report the study results in your details, and nothing should be hidden and nothing should be complicated. Storage and retention of records and materials that I have already told you. Whenever you are testing any material, whenever you are manufacturing any material, or the material is in the process of production, you should always test it and you should always maintain it, because if you have any audit in your laboratory or in your industry, they always ask for 5 year record. Okay, how you have maintained and stored, and retention of your records and material. Even the testing material or the testing sample of raw material, they should be kept separately. Of processing should be kept separately, and combined with the finished products, they should also be kept separately. Testing facility organization and postings. The individuals who are working in the lab, they should be properly trained, and your facility for testing should be updated and updated from time to time. Quality assurance program. When you are always working in your lab, following the GLP, you should always ensure the quality assurance of your product. Uh, this is significantly achieved by the proper certification and documentation that is issued from the lab. Apparatus, material, and reagents. Your apparatus, materials, and reagents should be up to the mark, and it should not be like that they are outdated or not updated, or the machines they have not been calibrated readily. So these are all the GLP principles that need to be followed in order to get proper recommendation. GLP, good laboratory practices. So certification of lab facilities. So elements of good laboratory practice. What are the things involved in that? A quality system of management controls of research lab and organization. How a research lab should function and work under GLP. Certification of lab facilities. Reagent and material certification. Okay, accountability. So whenever an individual or a group of individuals are working, they should always use the chemicals that are of research grade, and they should always have proper certification, and it claims the accountability that everyone has to submit the proper documentation of anything that they purchase or the chemicals they use. Statistical procedures, instrumentation validation. So every time the instruments that are using in the lab, they should be properly calibrated. They should be of good brands, and they should have very good reputation as a brand, documentation, and its record. So every time you should maintain a logbook for these things and documentation of the records because you have to keep in alignment with the number of services being provided by the company on that very instrument. Okay, after what number of use that instrument needs servicing. So quality assurance, every time you have to make sure that you maintain a good quality that is ensured by the documentation or certification issued by the laboratory. Specimen and sample tracking, whenever you are using anything, whenever you are using any specific testing procedure, you should always keep the sample as a record. Certification of analysis is issued by quality assurance and the manager of quality assurance. Certification of lab facilities is also very important. So these are the things that are essentially needed and required when you are following proper good laboratory practice. Okay, if you make it a habit for your laboratory, it's very easy and it is very simple to follow. The principle of good laboratory practice, areas and regulations for human resources. GLP as a whole regulates the requirements relating to human resources, special consideration and specific units, plus areas of responsibility that apply during testing. Inputs from several parties is required during the testing process. And this means putting together a team made up of the testing manager, testing staff, and testing assurance staff. The testing manager is responsible for compliance with GLP principles and for audit. So, testing manager basically manages the lab, and the testing staff performs the first round of quality assurance procedures as specified by the test plans. So these are the basic hierarchies that are followed because of the GLP. The quality assurance staff performs second round of quality assurance procedures and issues final approval for the standard operating procedure. So every time there is a hierarchy and they should follow the protocol. The content of the operating procedure must be described and defined in all GLP related activities. It is sometime uh, that staff are required to follow and cover following aspects. And what are those following aspects? Testing and reference item, equipment, material and reagent, record keeping, reporting, storage and retrieval, especially for biological test system, quality assurance procedures for test, analysis methods, computer supported systems, interfaces with internal and external institutions if necessary. So, following the GLP scenario, you should always maintain these things in a very uh, differential manner and you should always try to cover them. Good laboratory practices on GLP is a set of principles intended to ensure quality and integrity of non-clinical laboratory studies that are intended to support the research of marketing permits for uh, products regulated by government agencies. The term of GLP is most commonly associated with the pharmaceutical industry and the required non-clinical animal testing must be performed prior to the approval of the drug products. However, GLP applies to many other non-pharmaceutical agents such as color additives, food additives, food contamination limits, food packaging, and medical devices. So, GLP is also very significantly widespread concept, and it is overall applied in every case that you see, and all the laboratories are under that scenario of GLP. GLP compliant testing and approval steps involve following testing. The testing manager accepts the test, assigns and draws up the test plan for it. Before the work can start, the quality assurance staff, test manager, and the party who commissioned the assignment must approve and sign the test plan. The test plan includes the test procedures, test methods, and frequency of execution. Its scope may also cover regular quality assurance inspections that monitor compliance with GLP principles. A trial run of the test procedure is performed and the raw data documented. Once the GLP test has been performed, the testing manager writes a concluding report on the basis of the test results. In turn, this report must be approved by quality assurance staff. So every time there's a basic protocol steps that should be followed in the GLP. The steps involved in approval, it is not possible for approval to be granted until all the documentation is completed and has been documented, and if anything has not been documented, then the approval process automatically deems it as something that has been performed. Any missing documentation may result in the product failing to receive approval, incurring significant financial loss and wasted time. How are GLP related tests usually performed? GLP related tests are usually performed in incubators and climate chambers with extra process dedicated by the requirements of the active ingredients or finished medicinal product that is being developed. So every time the things are very indifferent, and the tests are performed in controlled conditions. Now coming on to the MCQs, what is GLP? A set of rules any lab should follow. The Code of Federal Regulation for Non-Clinical Regulatory Studies, Code of Conduct for Principal Investigation on a non-GLP study known as that. It is a set of rules that should be followed. Okay. What are the two main goals of GLP? To make life difficult for study personnel, to ensure accountability, to ensure ability to construct the study, to ensure mistakes and errors do not happen. This is the correct answer. GLP is followed in order to reduce the chances of accident and mistakes combined with errors altogether. Which of the following is not a GLP safety rule? You should never mix acid with bases. You should tie back your long hair. All you should never add water to acid, or all the above are valid safety rules for JLPU. What piece of laboratory equipment is best suited at treatment holding a volume of liquid? It is graduated cylinder. Quality qualitative results refer to most of the time results can be observed during an experiment, results that are difficult to observe during an experiment, results that are requires numerical data. So results that require numerical data and also that are observed during the experiment, and mostly it is observed after the experiment. Exothermic process is a process that uh, generates energy. Okay, it releases energy. A virus is made up of protein code and nucleic acid. Protein code of virus that includes the genetic material is called uh, capsid. Which of the following statements are true for Byron? Uh, correct statement is an infectious and fully formed viral particle. Which of the following is the genome of the virus? DNA or RNA? Both can serve as the genome of the virus. Which of the following statements is true about capsulomes? It is an individual unit of capsule. So these are the references from where we have collected the data, and this marks the end of our lecture. Thank you for listening to us.